Good morning, children. Continuing with the last part of synthesis of sentences, we go to complex sentences. Now, I have already told you when we were doing compound sentences, complex sentence is just nothing but your main clause and your subordinate clause. Compound was only and only main clause. Complex is main clause as well as subordinate clause. Okay. Same. You just have to think or and add a subordinator over there. Think of a subordinator and add it. But you have to add the right subordinator. Okay. Now let's read. Complex sentences. Complex sentences consist of one or more subordinate clauses which are joined to a main clause by subordinators. So you can have one main clause and one subordinate clause, or one main clause and two subordinate clause. Okay, it's not just one main clause and one subordinate. It could be two subordinate clauses also. The subordinate clause always starts with a subordinator. This you know when I taught you clauses, I have already taught you. Subordinators are who, whoever, which, whichever, what, whatever, when, whenever, where, wherever, why, while, whether, if, so that, such that, since, how, as, after, before, although, because, unless, etc. The subordinate clause could be either a noun, an adjective clause, or an adverb clause, and the subordinator will be according to the clause. Examples: be rested. Now, I have not explained it more because you have already done clauses and you already know how to form a sentence or with a clause to divide. So, that's just exactly what you have to do over here. They rested when evening came. So, they rested is your main clause. When evening came, subordinate clause. When Tony was young, since it's starting with subordinator, this is your subordinate clause. His father was a rich man, main clause. If you disturb me, again this will be subordinate clause since starting with the subordinator. I shall have to punish you is your main clause. Again starting with the subordinator, so you start with subordinate clause. As the boxers advanced into the ring, is your subordinate clause. The people said they would not allow them to fight. So you don't have to bother which clause it is with it. Sorry. It is noun clause, adjective clause or adverb clause. You just have to divide it into main and subordinate. Once you write your answer, how you will check? Divide into main and subordinate and see whether it is right. Clear? That's the way you will check. And when you see a sentence, you have to think which subordinator you can add. And one part of the sentence will be a main clause, the other will be a subordinate clause. That's how you have to think. Okay, let's see the exercise I've given you all. I've even explained some in this. Okay, first one. I finished the dishes, I went out. So, what is this? When I finished the dishes, subordinate clause, I went out, main clause. So, it's when you will get two sentences like this, okay, just think which can be your main clause and which can be your subordinate, where you can add the subordinator. Okay, you can't say when I went out, no. You can say when I finished, yes. So, this becomes your subordinate clause, this becomes your main clause. Second one, a man did this. He must have been very strong. So, okay, this should be a full stop. So, how will you change it? You have to add who as your subordinate. So, the man who did this must have been very strong. Okay, so you can do the rest. I breathe all right. At least I think so. I won, managing to shock everybody. That night, Kunal had a dream and it was more like a nightmare. Yes, here you can add which Kunal had a dream. Which, it's very easy. Sometimes you just have to change one word. Okay, you just have to think of all the subordinators and think which you can add. But how to check? You have to check your answer afterwards and see whether your answer is coming. That is, you are getting your main clause and your subordinate clause or no. Okay, so do it, and I will be giving you all more exercises for practice. Anything you are stuck with, you do not, just send me a message, okay? Then I will call you, like maybe because maybe I may be recording, so I will not be able to answer your call or whatever. So don't call me, and maybe it will even disturb my recording. So you message me whenever I see the message. I will get back to you when I'm free. Maybe if I'm school also, if I go to school, I can call you and then explain it to you again. Okay? Thank you and do have a good day.